Hello, welcome to episode 37. What is meant by recovered when you're talking about a stroke? I consider myself sort of recovered. But what do I precisely mean by that? So I am going to use myself as an example where I explain or specify percentages for each area of recovery: mental, physical, degree to which I am able to resume the trajectory of my life, etc., etc. By the way, please like and subscribe to my videos. I wish to spread the word that all is not necessarily lost in your life. And the only way you can do that is by promoting the channel. And, you know, I reference many things that I've made individual videos about, not necessarily giving percentages, but I talked about recovery for different parts of my body. So you subscribe and then you can have the full access to the library. I cannot emphasize enough that I am talking about me and not necessarily you. Stroke is so personal, and recovery is the same thing. What type of stroke did you have? How much do you work at the recovery? How much didn't you work? Or did you work harder than me? So personal. When I first had the stroke, no one explained or outlined in a coherent manner what was potentially the path forward. My channel is the attempt to give you all hope that your life is not necessarily over. Mind you, I have been working daily on my recovery for 20 plus years and on the following schedule. And I wanted to mention also, I'm getting over a case of sinusitis, and causing my head to be foggy around the sinuses area. But anyway, bear with me. So for the first 3 months, every minute I was not either eating or overcome with fatigue and sleeping. I slept 12 to 14, 18 hours a day for the first 3 months. I worked at recovery. From 3 to 9 months, I worked 4 to 5 hours a day. At roughly 9 months, I returned to work part-time, so I averaged 2 hours of work on recovery. After a year, time until today, I work roughly an hour of activities dedicated to my stroke. Yes, at 78, I am still improving. The physical, category 1 physical, in terms of parts of the body and muscles and things like that. And I qualify that by the fact that I am 78 and going on 79. First, strength. The left side of my body, I estimate, which was not the stroke side, I've recovered 95%. My right side varies. My right arm, for instance, probably 65% of the coordination, the flexibility, and the strength. My right hand is probably 55%. My right leg is probably 50%. In terms of beat coordination, my right arm, 90%. My right hand is probably 85%. My right leg, in terms of coordination, is probably 80%. For instance, walking, I can look normal, but the more intense the movement, the swifter the movement and more energy it takes, the more my stroke shows. I went on a recent vacation and walked an average of 5 miles a day, or slightly more than 8 kilometers. It took effort. In the old days, I walked without effort. Okay, specific skills, like talking about guitar or skating or playing any sports or whatever. The effect of the stroke shows immediately because the movement's now complicated. Gross motor skills are basically recovered, but the fine motor skills, not so much. Repetitive movements give me more trouble than non-repetitive. For instance, playing the guitar. The one thing I'm doing better than after my stroke is playing golf. I was never a great golfer to begin with, but I hit the ball well. I had my moments. But in fact, it's due to diligent practice, and I'm focusing most of my effort on golf, that it's showing improvement. And I can play it actually better than before my stroke. Okay, in terms of balance, on the whole, I recovered 80%. The second category is mental acuity and performance. The stroke supposedly wiped out 1/3 of my brain, of the right side. And as I stated in an earlier video, it was like in mobile phones terms, if you think of a brain as the mobile phone type of processing speed, I went from a 6G suddenly down to -2G. And it is a little analogy, but now overall I have 4G, sometimes 3. It depends on how much I suffer from brain fog, and I have my good days and especially my bad days. And it takes longer to load the pages. My memory is 70% of what it used to be. Numerical skills are 60%. Verbal skills are probably 85%. That's one area where I lost it entirely, and now I'm basically back. Speaking languages is not so good, but my ability to comprehend and things like that is much improved. When I talk about number 3, attitude and outlook, this is one area where I have not lost a lot. I would guess I'm at 95% where I used to be. Of course, recognize that when you feel sick, in general, whether you had a stroke or not, you tend to be depressed and have a negative outlook on life, shall we say. The fourth area I want to discuss is the maintenance or return of the trajectory of my life, for good or bad. It all depends on your attitude towards life. If you would not be happy not having 100% back of everything, I guess I have not recovered. Since most strokes happen to older people, you have to temper that idea with the fact that additional factors of you are declining anyway in energy and skills in playing sports and whatever, even if you have not had the stroke. So I guess I was the sort that was happy to wake up on the right side of the grass, even before the stroke. I decided to build from that fact. It was not the trajectory I was on when the stroke happened. I was a 56, a VP, was running a company. My life was hunky-dory. And my daughters were in college and everything seemed okay, and that stopped in a second. I lost my VP position, but the owners were super kind, generous, and helpful. I was blessed to have left the corporate world several years earlier and work now for a family company that was run by two brothers who actually cared about the employees. After the stroke, I was demoted, lost my VP position as I said, but at least I still had a job. That is the glass half full kind of thinking that made the stroke much easier to accept. So in summation, I soldier on. Life is not exactly as it might have been. But then again, you have to play the cards in life you're dealt with. We fight about with that as human beings, but it's you may think of it as fate or whatever, but you have to deal with the cards you're dealt with, not what you wish you had. You as a stroke survivor has been dealt a very cruel hand. Again, you as a stroke survivor have been dealt a very cruel hand by life. I can only wish you the best recovery possible and the strength to always keep moving forward. Again, don't give in to stroke. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to talking with you again. Thank you.